time! Hello everyone, it's Leo, and today we're going to talk about episode 8 from Hirogaru's PreCure, which was extremely adorable. I loved every second from this episode. I got emotional, and I gotta say, I cried a little bit. It was super cute. We are getting into a part of the PreCure franchise that is totally new. It's our first male cure in an actual team, part of an actual team, a full season. And the bird that we met today is going to become Cure Wings soon. Tsubasa is a cute little thing, and I absolutely love him. Everything about this episode worked very well for me, but there were two things that I really loved. The first one was the soundtrack. It was really cool, and I feel like it's working super well for Hirogaru Sky. And the second one is that the characters themselves. They are being so well done and so well constructed. We will talk about that while we talk about the episode. So the episode starts with Tsubasa helping Elle, or saving her, and we can see that he is kind of like taking care and is worried about her, even though he is doing so stealthily. At the same time, we have Sora. Sora noticed that someone was in the room. She looked, she didn't see anyone, but she noticed that something was up. And then she talked to the bird. The bird just turned its head around. That was so nice. And then she shared that info with Mashiro later on. And here's another thing that I love. I feel like this show is able to gather all of the characters so well. Like, Sora felt so natural. Mashiro felt so natural in this episode. Everything felt so good, so connected. Wow. And Mashiro commenting like, oh, Sora was talking to a bird. How cute is that? That is so cute. That is something that is so nice. But Sora noticed that something was wrong, so she purposefully played that she was leaving the room later that night, and she catched the human, or the little guy, that was actually talking to Elle. The guy was surprised, and Sora was scared, thinking it was a Kabuton accomplice, and she ran after him. Poor baby, jumping off that window and falling from there. Girl, oh my god, I'm so sorry, Tsubasa. It must have hurt. But it was so cute, and with the way Sora jumped and got him and talked to Mashiro like, Mashiro, I got the boy. And Mashiro was like, boy? And no, it was actually a bird. The bird that we've been seeing, looking at the girls and paying attention to everything that's been going on so far. And look, I really like the idea of bringing someone else from Skyland, because with that, we just had another look into that new society. We have known in this episode that birds and humans, or Skylandians, live peacefully together in Skyland. Birds talk, it seems that, and we've known that they talked because we saw that in the first episode, but they talk, they're part of society. There are models, artists, and people that work in different fields. And not people, birds that work in different fields. And I loved that model. Girl, can you become a cure too? Can you be the legendary cure of the season? I would love to have a peacock themed cure. That would look amazing. But, you know, it was nice. And then it was nice knowing a little bit more from Skyland. Skyland is something that they talk about a lot, but we know very little from that society. So it's nice to know those details. It enriches the experience and the world building from Hirogaru Sky, which is something I'm loving. And then we get to learn more about the bird himself. Tsubasa is from a tribe called Puni Bird Tribe, and that tribe is comprised of birds who are artists, and they are not able to fly, but they are able to turn into humans. They have a human form. That is something that tribe does, that is their ability, but Tsubasa is holding a secret, and Sora wants to know, but he is not ready to share. And after that, we had a scene of Sora not sleeping. Sora stayed all night with Elle-chan. And I really liked, so Mashiro goes to school by herself, and I really like the other thing that Yo-Yo said to Mashiro, that Sora isn't looking after Elle because she is worried about Tsubasa. She's looking after Elle because she is thinking that she has failed. And we can see that. Sora thinks that she failed because she couldn't be the hero that Elle-chan needed. If an accomplice to Kabaton appeared, she wouldn't have seen, they could have stolen Elle, and she couldn't have done anything. Even though she noticed, but she was still blaming herself. And I love that it's part of Sora's construction as a hero, you know, learning that you can fail and beating yourself up to it, because we do that a lot. And she wasn't really worried about Tsubasa, you know, she was worried about the fact that she failed. And even though that's a little sad, you know, sometimes I feel like we cannot beat ourselves that much. It happens, and sometimes we can't control it. And Sora, this is her first experience as a hero, so there's still a long path for her to walk on. And then on the next day, when she falls asleep for a little while, Elle-chan is able to go away, and she started walking by herself. At that moment, we had both Tsubasa and Sora looking for Elle-chan. And they were paying attention to what she was doing. Both of them tried to protect her when she almost fell to the ground. And I love that scene because it shows us two things. The first one is that Sora is indeed very worried about Elle, not only as a hero, but seeing her growth and seeing how much she is developing, how much she is growing. And she does not only want to protect Elle, there's already an emotional bond between them. That's very cute. And the second one is that Tsubasa is on the same way trying to protect Elle. He also created a bond with her. Probably not as deep as Sora's bond, because Sora has been spending more time with Elle, obviously, than him, but still a little bond. And he gave his all to protect her from that fall. And at that moment, I loved that scene of Sora crying. It was so sweet. But at the end of that moment, Tsubasa noticed that he could rely on Sora and tell her his secret and share a little bit more of who he is. And so we get to another room, which is Tsubasa's room, which is super cute as well. I found that so nice. And Yo-Yo starts sharing. I am already tearing up thinking about everything that happened. She started, like visually, there are lots of planes and things, and you can notice that he studies. And I forgot to mention that Yo-Yo also explained why he went to Earth, or Sorashido, in the first place. Whenever there is a very strong storm, a rift opens up, and in this rift, we have things from Skyland coming to Earth, falling down on Earth and coming to Sorashido. That is one way of the Sky Jewels appearing. We saw that on episode 3, and now we understand why they appear on that place. And Tsubasa was a victim of what happened at that moment as well. So we get the information that Tsubasa is studying aerodynamics because his dream is to be able to fly. And he is ashamed of that dream. He doesn't want to share it with Sora because Sora is someone who he doesn't know very well, and people who he's shared with in the past have laughed at him and have thought that his dream was an impossible dream and he would never achieve something. And so what we have here is a scenario in which he is studying hard so that he can understand how things fly here on Earth, so that maybe he could apply that to his own experience and to his own body and try to fly as well. And so we start to understand more of the Puni Bird tribe, which is a tribe that traded their ability to fly for the ability to turn into humans. And also, it's a tribe that is focused on art. We can see that a little bit in the flashback. But in the flashback, we can see that Tsubasa's dad ended up flying because Tsubasa fell when they were both flying with that big bird we see in the first episode. We don't know if that's exactly the same bird or a bird from the same type, from the same family. But still, when Tsubasa fell down, his dad was able to catch him and he was able to fly. In a moment of desperation, trying to save his child, he flew and he saved Tsubasa. Tsubasa, at that moment, noticed that flying was possible for a puny bird. And he noticed that he could do that too. He just didn't know how. So when they both got back to their society, people started laughing at Tsubasa and thinking that was impossible. They started saying that they would shoot lasers with their eyes. Cure Papaya, is that you? But at the end of the day, Tsubasa really wants to be someone who is able to fly. He wants to be a bird that can fly, even though his tribe can't. He wants to be that one. He sees that it's possible. He saw that with his dad. But his dad is not interested, but he is. And so on the day of a storm with the wind, he tried to fly and ended up falling. Here, the way he was all hurt, oh my god, that was so painful. I'm so sorry, Tsubasa. But Yo-Yo was taking care of him. I love that. And then Sora noticed that they're very similar. And that was the scene that kind of made me break down, because I love that whole scenario. Sora writing down in her hero notebook that is such a hero thing to do, and she said that she is trying hard to be a hero, he's trying hard to fly, they're very similar, and she asked if they wanted to be friends, if they could be friends. Absolutely love that. And that was the moment I cried a little bit. I love that scene so much. And then Mashiro comes back from school, and here is one of the moments I said that I think they are able to connect everything very well. The story of this episode was basically between Sora and Tsubasa, but then we have Mashiro being brought in every time. They never forgot about her character. She was at school and now she's coming back. She's talking about the experience of not being on school with Sora, the way people thought of it, and she ran back. And when she arrives, she sees everything is right between Sora and Tsubasa. She's like, what the hell is going on? And I love that Mashiro is kind of like the voice of reason in the world of Hirogaru Sky. She's like us. She is the outsider. Even though she is from Earth, she seems to be the only one for now. I mean, there's Ageha too, but for now, she is the only one that's from Earth, because everybody around her isn't. Tsubasa isn't, L isn't, Sora isn't, Yo-Yo isn't. And she is the one from Earth. She is like the one that has her feet on the ground. And she's kind of like the voice of reason. I love that. Ultimately, she was like, what the hell is going on here? Love it too. And we'll get to Ageha as well, which I will say it connects very well to what I was thinking about characters and how the episode was able to wrap it up perfectly. So we have Kabaton, and at the same time Mashiro is coming back from school. We see some kids playing and Kabaton gets involved. Kabaton finds a new toy and he creates a UFO then board. He gets inside of it and he calls the PreCure because he wants to fight them. I love that. Honestly, I really love this kind of attitude from a villain. And I know I love Kabaton. You guys know I love him. And so every time he appears, I get happy, I get excited. But at the end of the day, he was calling for the PreCures and they both went out of the house and got to transform and went to fight Kabaton. So L-chan stayed, Tsubasa stayed, Yo-Yo stayed. Yo-Yo was always saying, get inside the house, get inside the house. And Tsubasa was in shock a little bit, and L wanted to go with the girls. L already has her little boat, and she got into the boat and she went with it. I like that she is having some sort of agency. I mean, she's a baby, but she doesn't act like a baby at all. She's a magical creature. I mean, we've seen that since the first episode. So she is a magical creature, and you know, she took the boat, she went with it after the girl, that was so random. But at the same time, it makes sense because Elle is emotionally attached to the girls as well. And so the girls, we don't see much of the fighting scene because it happened right at the end of the episode. But then we see Ageha calling Yo-Yo. So here's the thing. We haven't seen Ageha and Yo-Yo interacting very much, but since Ageha is friends with Mashiro, she probably knows Yo-Yo as well. And Yo-Yo knows that Ageha knows that the girls are cures, and Ageha just calls her and tells her like things are happening here, and Yo-Yo says El-chan is going, and Ageha's like I'll get her, I'll protect her. And as I said, we haven't seen Ageha interacting with Yo-Yo. With a very short scene, very fast scene, we understand that they have been in touch. And I mean, we know that they have been in touch by cell phone, and they talked about the cure Pirate Baby. They did. We don't know, but they did. And now we do know. And so, again, a great way of involving every character that is part of this plot. Amazing. Amazing. And so, L went, Yo-Yo is worried, and Tsubasa is left by himself. What can he do to help? Well, nothing. Or maybe he can join the fray somehow, and that is what he thought. He became the little bird Tsubasa, that adorable thing, and he tried to fly to go and meet the girls. I love the last shot, very poetic, very pretty. It kind of reminded me of the poster of Otona PreCure 23, the way it was painted, very nice. And he is going to try his best so that he is able to get to the girls. We didn't have a proper fighting scene in this episode, but I really liked the little action that we had. But ultimately, what really got me was Tsubasa himself. And so, episode 7, amazing. Now it's time to talk about my Hero Corner. Hero Corner is my favorite moment of this episode. So I'm going to share mine. Please share yours in the comments. My Hero Corner for episode 8 would have to be the moment that Sora wrote down in her notebook how hard Tsubasa was trying to get to his wish, to get to his goal. And at that moment, she understood that they're alike, and she asked to be his friend. Absolutely love that scene. What an amazing scene that was. I was super happy. Anyways, babies, at the end of this episode, we had Cure Grace. I was not expecting to have other past cures again. I was super happy to see her. Very, very cute. I really like Grace. She is super adorable and she's super precious as well. A great lesson we learned with her in her season. Amazing. And next week, it's time for our first boy cure to join the team. Cure Wing will be born. Are you ready? I am super ready. Anyways, babies, this was my opinion on episode 8 from Hirogaru Sky PreCure. Please leave your opinions, your hero corners in the comment box below. Let's keep talking about it. Anyways, taking this little time to thank the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. If you are a member, thank you very, very much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. And if you've watched up to now, thank you so much as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye!